Plastic. One of the materials that brings us benefits in our lives, like water bottles, trash bins, TVs that now are made more of plastics, and even toys. But what happened when we dumped away these plastics? For example, when people dumped away bottles of Coke or water bottles in the street, or when they are in the beach, when they are drinking some Coke, uh, they leave the bottle there. But this is what happened. For example, in the beach, the bottle is in the sand, but the water grabs it and it goes into the ocean. This making damage to the animals that live there. And in the streets, the water goes into the storm drains. This uh, these cover the entrance for the water to get in there. So when it rains, the streets get flooded. But recycling is one of the most effective actions to prevent this happening. And this is what we're gonna talk about in this video.
Problem statement. At the present, use of plastic has become normal in our days, and there is a lot of pollution due to plastic bottles. The consequences they generate the environment and the survival species are visible. We can add the visual impact on all the kinds of crowded places of leisure. Garbage continues to accumulate and cover rivers. Polluted land and toxic waste continue to cause change in the ecosystem. And this material is one of the most used on the worldwide, mainly because it's very practical and has a low cost, and plastic products take 100 years to decompose. 100 milliliters of oil is needed to incinerate toxic vapors are produced, and those pollute the environment. This is a big problem, since many times we have the bad habit of being with a drink or something else, and instead of throwing in the corresponding bowl, we leave it lying on the ground. And this causes that when it rains, the rain drags toxic chemicals to the ground. Sometimes they can also reach the sea. And this causes them to kill more than 1 million seabirds and about 100,000 mammals on the sea turtle every year. As you can see, the marine environment is the most affected, and its degradation is more harmful than one land. Plastic also affects wildlife in two important ways. When the process becomes English in English and when ingested. Consequently, ecosystem and species are threatened.
To integrate form, we ourselves can create plastic collection pointing key places, as it will be at the entrance of institutions such as hospitals, schools, universities, campus, city centers, and so on. This with the objective of facilitating the collection and sequence recycling of the plastic that contaminate. So today, my classmate will collect bottles in 5 streets. He calculated trash cans and the houses of the result for was cycling for implement a new change.
As our solution proposal, we want to carry out an experiment where we can observe the amount of garbage that people throw away while cleaning our community by beautifying it and collecting all the single-use containers, wrappers, straws, and other plastics that can be used to recycle. For this we will clean 5 streets of my sector, with which we will make a sampling that allows us to get an idea of the pollution generated in the entire neighborhood. To carry out our experiment, we will use plastic black bags that allow us to load a large amount of plastics. We must bear in mind that each bottle, wrapper, or others must be crushed to reduce the volume and thus be able to load more plastic per bag. Also, try not to use too many bags, since we will also be contaminating. To start, I decided to make a small observation, and that is that at least in my street, which has 56 houses, there are only 12 trash cans, which is a good way to avoid dirt in the streets. But the fact that these containers don't allow a separation of the garbage does not facilitate that what can be recycled is recycled. So a way to change that situation is not only putting a trash container outside your home, but also putting a division where we can separate the plastic from the rest. So in the future, we can recycle it. Given the large number of streets in my neighborhood, I decided to do a sampling taking into account the 5 streets from my sector, which I will collect all the plastic I can find. In the video, you can see that I am starting to pick up all the bottles I can see in my own street, but we can see the results later. Having finished, these were the results. In the first street, we got an approximate of 32 bottles. In the second 40, in the third 45, in the fourth 37, and finally, in the fifth street, we collect an approximate of 53 bottles, and that in less than 1 hour and a half in only 5 streets of a neighborhood with 308 houses. This just in my sector. I managed to fill 6 packs with a total of 207 bottles. This is only a small part. Making use of statistics, it is likely that we will be able to fill an average of 66 plastic bags in my entire sector. Finally, we want to demonstrate how we can recycle all this plastic. Honestly, what we have collected is a little amount, but however, the intention is what counts. To deliver our plastic, we can go to a recycling center near us. In our case, we decided to go to a supermarket which has a point recycling system. This means that the more we recycle, the more electronic money we accumulate. So in the future, we will be able to expand it, which is great. Taking care of the environment and earning money, without a doubt, a very good incentive. But most importantly, we help the planet and I have to say, ourselves.
Okay, as you saw on the last video, that was the experimental one. They did the experimental that was with a plastic bag, gather bottles on it that they were thrown on the floor on their sector where they live. With this, the first hour of the experimental, they clean 5 streets of their sector, and they gather around 30 bottles of plastic. There, after some hours of cleaning all the sector, they gather about 6 bags of plastic. There was like 200 bottles, something around that. I mean, with this, we can say that it wasn't as we know on the spotted hypothesis what we said about it. I mean, it wasn't as good as we thought, but we did got some benefits of it. That was like getting some other people that they passed through it and saw them gathering the bottles of the plastic bag so they can take conscious about it and think about the whole environment. I mean, what they're doing, where they're throwing the trash. I mean, about that. And what we conclude also about this is that they said that on the sector there was around 20 trash cans, and there weren't even recycled trash cans about it. So we can also say that we need to put more about it to collect more
trash or recycled trash. After that, they went to throw it to a commercial where they actually had trash cans of recycle. Well, with this we didn't had what we expected of it, where, but we did got some benefits, or we can actually make some other persons take conscious of it, and with this I think it is a good conclusion or a good way to see it about it, because we did got some good benefits of it. I mean, after cleaning all that sector, there was a good amount of trash. I mean, about not trash only, but plastic bottles and stuff like that, straws and things that are not recycled. So we can conclude that it wasn't that good, but it was a normal or normal benefits of it.
In conclusion, recycling is a very important activity in our lives. It benefits us, like in the case of this experiment that was made by Mesa. The recycling point, when you recycle plastic bottles, it gives you electronic money. But what you can do with that money? You can buy food or things that you always wanted. But also, it benefits the environment in where we live by not contaminating and taking care of the animals that live in this environment. For example, the birds that live in our city, and also us. Taking care of this environment will make this place to last more time. Thank you.